Hi, my name is Matthew Bellisario. Welcome to another edition of the Bellisario Sonic YouTube channel. Today, kind of a special episode because I'm going to be unwrapping this 45-year-old Frank Marino record. Now, Frank Marino is one of my favorite guitar players, and in my opinion, probably the most underrated guitar players in 70s rock music. Formed a band called Mahogany Rush in 1970 in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and released 6 records during the 70s, one in 1980 and one solo record in 2000, and has also done a few different live albums. And although he hasn't released a solo studio record since 2000, he has released some live material, including this really cool DVD Blu-ray box set with a book here. So I'm going to talk about that in a moment. But this guy right here, if you're into the Hendrix, Robin Trower, Pat Travers, all these 70s heavy rock, Humble Pie, all that kind of music, you're going to really dig Frank Marino if you're not familiar with him. So what I'm going to do today is have the privilege of unwrapping this 45-year-old record, which came out when I was about 5 years old. So that's kind of exciting. It's like going back in time and being the first person to unwrap this record. So now this particular record was the third record they came out with, 1975. The first one came out in 1972, called Maxum. Really unique cover on this. The second album that was released in 1974 called Child of Novelty also has a very unique cover with this type of characteristics. But what the album cover depicts are some of the visions Frank Marino had when he had the unfortunate experience of having a bad trip on LSD. And apparently when he was around 13 years old or so, got into LSD and had very bad experiences that affected him very negatively mentally. And the only thing that could get his mind off of all these kind of things, in a sense, was playing the guitar. There was a guitar laying around where he was at a mental facility, I think, or hospital, and he started playing guitar and spent every waking hour basically playing guitar, took it everywhere with him, and became just one of the greatest rock guitar players that's ever been. In my opinion, I'd rank him definitely in the top 10, even among the greats like Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan, and of course Stevie Ray Vaughan coming later, but in that vein, the Rory Gallaghers, that kind of thing. But he's a little bit more into that kind of psychedelic heavy rock type thing. So it would kind of, if I had to classify it, that it would be close to it would be kind of like a Jimi Hendrix, Robin Trower, Pat Travers type of heavy 70s rock music. He's just not very well heard about, primarily because he's from Canada. He was on some big tours in the 70s, even tours with Aerosmith and a lot of other bands that he opened for or played with on these different tours, and became very popular. But right when they were hitting the peak and getting ready to really break it through into the mainstream, Frank really had an issue with the way the record companies were running things, and even with his experiences on the road with other bands and the egotistical personalities involved with other bands and management and the record companies and all this kind of stuff, the promotions and tours and everything. And he really just wanted to get out of it. And so basically, after building this up for almost 10 years, performing this band in 1970, really hitting it, getting into the big time in the late 70s, and then just kind of pulled the plug on it in 1980 after his album What's Next, and then kind of didn't do anything for almost 20 years, and came out with another studio album in 2000, and again has done some live music since. So, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the razor blade and I'm going to open this album up for the first time ever since 1975. 45 years later, I'm going to be the first one to open up this vinyl record. So I'm going to share that with you here today on this video. So I'm really excited. Just going to make a little, and there's no kind of stickers or anything on it to save. I like to save the stickers on wrappers. A lot of times if I get them off, but I'm sure after 45 years, if there had been any on there, they wouldn't have come off probably anyway. Again, this is just kind of like, you know, being a kid when you first bought your record. Back in 1977, I think I got my first record album, Kiss Alive 2, 77 or 78. So here we are, it's unwrapped. Check out the cover. Gatefold. Pretty neat. All the lyrics there. Pull it out here. Original album sleeve, which I'll definitely leave in there, but replace with one of the Mobile Fidelity sleeves. I'm going to pull this out. So brand new. I always check them for static electricity. This one seems to not have any whatsoever. So I'm just going to wipe it off with a nice cloth here. And I'm going to put it on the record player and just share a little bit with you. Now I've got a Rega Planar 1 turntable. That's what I play all my vinyl on. And so I'm going to drop the needle on this here. And this is it, the first ever play. The record's fairly flat. It's got a little bit of a wobble. Again, it's 45 years old in the wrapper. So it's got a little bit of a warp to it. And here we go. Right, it sounds great. Brand new record. No noise whatsoever. Has a little bit of a warp, but I don't hear too much going on there. It sounds really good. So I'm pretty excited. Brand new, listening to Frank Marino for the very first time. Strange Universe, 1975. Now it's going to talk a little bit about something he just put out last year in 2020. And this right here, particular recording, I think was done in 2007. You got 6 hours of concert material here. You've got a really nice, thick booklet here. Half of it written by Frank and half of it written by a friend of his. So you've got kind of a biography slash autobiography in here. And all nice color pictures, taking you through the history of Mahogany Rush, different pictures of his family, different pictures on tour. Pretty cool. And again, you've got a Blu-ray version and a DVD version of that 6 hour concert. Now, when he recorded this, he Company came out and volunteered to record it for them, but the drum sound was kind of jacked up. So Frank had to go in and digitally fix everything. It took him about 7 years to fix this or something like that. So, but the sound quality is great video quality. And I recommend, if you're into that, just great guitar playing, Frank Marino, I recommend picking this up. Also, I like his vocals, and I like his songwriting. So, let me play a little bit more for you before I sign off here. All right, we'll see you on the next one.